Hi, everybody. How are you doing? I'm Dr. Gail, and this is Aurora. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about Aurora. She just got back from a retreat, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to go into her drawings and some new things that she's doing and thinking about doing. We will be doing general questions. Aurora doesn't do readings, so we're going to kind of gear this towards questions that she can answer. So anyway, and we'll do that probably near the end. So y'all can put in questions that are general questions, just not questions for a personal reading would be good. And so let me see who is here today. Hey, Debbie, Three Shifting Bells. Hey, White Dragon. Hey, Kathleen Garrison. Let's see. Who else is here? Hey, Fine and Phoenix. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. Hey, Liz Daly. Hey, Akila, me24. Hey, Tina. Hey, Hypnicity. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Son of Watt. Hey, Emmy J. Hey, Arsana. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Hey, Laurie. I'm glad to see everybody. We've got a good group of people in here, and we're going to be talking to Aurora. I don't know if y'all have seen the things that she does on Facebook and the other show that she's done with me, where she does drawings of the ETs. And like if you have a guide that's an ET, she does a drawing for that. Hey, Seascape. Hey, the Suncatcher. Thanks for joining us today. So, Aurora, how would they find you on Facebook?
I have my own Facebook account. It's just look up Aurora Belcia. And I don't think there's anybody else with that name. So that'll be easy enough. Yeah, you can do that. And there's I do have one public post there that you can click on, and it has a link to my Google account where I've uploaded all the pictures and all of the stories that go with them. Because my settings are set so that only friends of friends can send me requests, because I was getting so many strange people. Sending me all these requests, and I decided, I need to do something about that. So, but yeah, you can definitely see my drawings, or you can send me a private message, and I'll give you access or whatever it is I got to do.
Yes, she does drawings for people for which are seeing or what they. How do you go about doing that, or how do you tap into their energy and get to do their drawings of their ET people or whatever?
Yeah, well, I start with a blank piece of paper, and then I just start to draw. Sometimes I start drawing a shape or a face, and the first thing that I draw is the eyes. And as soon as I do that, whatever being is right there with me will immediately just show itself on the page. And so I know exactly what they look like. I can feel them at that point. But first thing I do is I draw their eyes.
Now,
that's a way in.
What reason would they contact you? What would be the reason?
Well, the people obviously who are asking for these are excited to make connections with their, star families and ET families and soul families and everything. And so these beings on the other side, so to speak, sense that invitation to make a connection. And so they're ready to come forward. And what I do is, I try to go through my list of people in the order that they ask for the drawings. But every now and again, I get a being that's just tired of waiting in line and just hops in. And I know it's not for the person that I started drawing for. And then I look through my list of people, and, I don't know anything about these people. They're all strangers to me. But when I come across a certain name, it's like, boom, that's it. I just know this being came through for that person. So, in that case, I oblige them and I draw them. I don't set it aside, because I realize that sometimes timing is important. So, if a being takes the effort to, come forward like that, I figured, it's their turn. Right. And, and I'm okay with it. But it's a lot of fun, because not only do I see them, I mean, that's the part that I put on the drawing, but I feel them. And this frequency that they put out of loving, compassion, and joy is what they want to communicate to the person that they want to connect with. So I try to illustrate those frequencies in my drawings with different patterns that I include, and based on the feedback that I'm getting, I'd say that's working. That's working. I mean, just recently I sent a woman a drawing of a being, and she left me a message. She recorded a message on Messenger on Facebook, and she was practically in tears. She was so happy about the drawing and also the messages that came through for her from this being. And she really resonated with everything that was there. So it's, for me, it's a lot of fun because I enjoy hanging out with somebody who's really positive and loving. I feel those emotions, not just directed at the person that I'm drawing for, but I also feel them directed to me. These beings really appreciate, being given the opportunity to come through into our reality in this way, or any way, I'm sure. But in this way, I can feel their gratitude. It's really quite moving.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious though, how are people connecting with you? Is it from Facebook that they go, oh, look what she does, let me contact her about my guides or ETs that I'm connected with? What motivates them, or what sends them their way? Is there like a story that they're coming up with, or they already know who their guides are, or how are they connecting with
Well,
you?
most of these people are on Facebook. And some of them have actually seen me on your show, the last couple of times that I was here. But most of them just see the artwork that I post. I have several groups that I post in, UFO related, ET related, consciousness related. So like-minded individuals. And they see a drawing and they read the story that I write down about this being, kind of describing their attributes and qualities. And if you hear my dog barking, it's because there's another dog walking by on the street. In any case, sometimes they connect with a being that I've posted a drawing of, and they recognize the being. That happens a lot. And then they get curious. They want to make can you hear Teddy?
Yeah.
They want to make their own connection. And so they'll send me a private message. Yes, I hear you. And I agree. But you got to be quiet now.
Protecting.
I know, right? Yeah. They'll send me a private message, can you draw, someone for me, and so on. So that's kind of how it starts out, just by finding out what I do. And at first I was just drawing beings that I connected with just because it was fun. And once I started posting them, there was someone from your show who saw me, and she contacted me and asked me to draw a portrait for her. And now that's a pretty interesting story, how that came to be, because I was out on my balcony, connecting with ETs and whoever was around at the time. And so I connected with a group of beings with someone named John. Yes, you have to be quiet. And so I asked John who else was there.
Oh, sweet.
I know. Yes,
his head's 3 times the size of yours.
Yes, he's a big Saint Bernard Newfoundland mix, 150-pound baby. Anyway, so when I asked John who else was there with him, he said Henry. And so a week later, somebody who saw me on your show sent me a message asking me to draw Henry for her. That really made an impression on me. And after that, we started talking with one another, and we were both getting the same information from this being, and we were just validating one another. And that was the first portrait that I drew for someone else. And the rest of it is history. Now I have a line of over 20 people who are waiting, and it takes me about 10 days to do a portrait. So it's like I can't keep up with it all, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It really is.
Well, can you show us some?
Sure. Let me get out my notebook. Now, because of I can't blur my background because I'm in my bedroom. I don't have an office. So,
with her t-shirts,
right?
she loves validation.
Right. So this is actually Henry. And what she asked me, or she asked Henry to put something in the drawing that would be especially for her. And for some reason, I didn't know at the time, I drew these mushrooms. As it turned out, a couple of days before I sent her the drawing, she was on Amazon looking for garden decor, mushrooms, garden decor. So that was interesting. And then I got some print down here, and this red feather. I couldn't send this drawing to her until I included the red feather. I still don't know what that was for. A lot of the stuff that's on here, I have no idea what it's for. But there's some, I guess, light language print, or I have no idea what it means. But she really resonated with this whole picture, this whole drawing. So that's Henry. That's how things started out. And then after that, I think her friend asked me for a picture, and I connected to one of Henry's friends. So this is Tanya, and she's also on Henry's ship. And she also had a message for this person, which I thought was kind of interesting. And so from that, I started. Go ahead. Yes.
I was going to say it's beautiful. Your drawings are great.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun for me. And I'll show you one more. There's a lot of them. This one I actually drew for a friend that I shared with that, what just happened. Somebody asked me to draw a portrait for them, and here's what happened. And she said, "Oh, can you do one for me? Can you do one for me?"
Yeah.
And so that's what I drew for her. It wasn't a being. This was more of an energy or a spirit. And it turned out to be something that she's really working on this lifetime.
It looks like a dragon.
It is. Yeah. It's an underwater dragon, I guess you could call it. Yeah. It's a dragon in the water. Let's see. What else do I have? I'll show you the last one that I just posted. This is one that jumped the line. This is Argo. He's a lion being. And what's interesting is that he jumped the line in August, right around before the Lion's Gate. So, and I didn't put the two of them together, until I was done and I sent the drawing to the person who asked for it. He was way down on the list, but this guy showed up, and it's like, oh, okay. That happens. That happens on occasion. The very last one, I'll show you one more. Let me get my other notebook. The very last one that I drew was the one that I initially was starting to draw before this lion being popped in. And this is another one. It's too bad you really can't see it in the background.
It's pretty colorful.
Cool. Yeah, it's sort of like an elf fairy being that I drew for a friend. Now, this one, she gave me a description of. And I used that description. It actually really did help me to connect with her. But all of the information that came through was stuff that I didn't know about. And this is a woman who called, who left me the message that she was in tears of how happy she was, to be receiving these messages. But most people don't know who they want to connect with. Very few actually do. So it just all depends on who wants to come forward. And I never connect with any beings who don't radiate with compassionate love and sympathetic joy.
Right.
Even if this person may be having difficulty in their lives and maybe there's somebody else hanging around that's not to their best interests, I don't connect with those.
Right.
And so everything that I do is very positive and very supportive.
Yeah, me too. I don't go there either.
Yeah, it's like there's no need attention to that.
Yes. Okay. Well, we were talking about a lot of things behind the scenes, but I wanted to talk about first, but what we didn't get to talk about was your meditation. That you go on every year, don't you?
Yeah, I go every year. Sometimes I go away for a month, sometimes just for a couple of weeks. But this time around, I went, I was there for almost a month. And whenever I come back from these retreats, there is, I want to say always, and I'm probably not exaggerating when I say that, a positive change, a big positive change in my life. And when I came back from this retreat, I really didn't know what was going to change until one of the people who contacted me about drawing a picture for them got tired of waiting in this long line. And she actually, offered me good money for an hour and a half of my time, to meet with her on Zoom and just have a conversation and try to help her connect, make her own connections. Now, I've never done anything like this before, so I told her to hang on to her money until we see how it goes, before she commits to spending all of that. So I have, we're going to meet in a couple of weeks at the end of August, and we'll see how it goes. Dr. Gail, you gave me some really great suggestions for how to do this, because I really have no idea what's going to happen. I have a small idea of how I'm going to, get started with the meditation and who to reach out to and all of that. But beyond that, I have no idea what's going to happen. So, it was interesting timing when this came up, because, there's this long line of people to draw portraits for. And on the other side, there's this increasingly growing crowd of beings to draw portraits of. And everybody on both sides is really excited about getting together. And, I'm not moving fast enough with these drawings, because it takes me like 10 days to finish one.
I was looking outside because I have a hummingbird that's flying around out there right now.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Well, I also wanted to know about the actual retreat. I have never been to a meditation retreat. Can you describe what goes on there? I'm not sure how many people here have been on one, but I've never been on a meditation retreat. I can imagine sitting in silence and stillness for a whole month. I know you love it.
I do. I really do. I'm looking forward to going away for 45 days. That's going to be a gift to myself before I turn 60. Well, this kind of meditation is really not for everybody. It gets very intense. We have what's called noble silence, and that means you don't talk to anyone, any of the other meditators. You can talk to the teacher, obviously, and to management, if you need anything. But, we all basically hang out in silence without speaking, and that can take a little bit of getting used to. And also, we meditate around 10 to 12 hours a day, obviously not consecutively, but, you get up at 4 a.m. and you go to bed at 9, and, you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner breaks. But the rest of the time you are meditating, you're with your eyes closed. There are some instructions every day, especially for people who've never done it before. There are daily instructions to follow. And it's a mindfulness meditation. So it focuses, it helps you to focus on, somatic experiences in a way, and teaches us how to not be so reactive, regardless of what happens around us in the outside world. It's called Vipassana meditation, and I can give you the link if you want to, put it up for people, maybe in the comments on the video. But I've been doing this for 25 years, actually, this year, and I find it very, very helpful. But it is rigorous. It's rigorous, and it gets intense, and not always in a fun way.
How do you not fall asleep?
You do sometimes. I personally don't. Some people do. The teacher tells you how to work when you're so drowsy that, you can't stay awake. But, there's all sorts of difficulties that come up, the pain, the discomfort.
Look at White Dragon says, wow, no talking. I could not handle that at all. I have to communicate with other people, share their energies, help each other. Meditation is just not just quiet. Drawing
Yeah,
your
yeah. Well, there are different types of meditations, and this is not the kind of meditation where you go and you spend 10 days relaxing. It's work. This is
Viviani's saying it sounds great.
Yeah, like I said, it's not for everybody. Some people really resonate with no talking, no cell phone, no electronics, no reading, no writing, no contact with the outside world for 10 days. It's almost like you're basically living like a monk or a nun in that context on the charity of others, because these retreats are free.
Yeah, Sally saying not being able to move is not for me.
Yeah, that's another one
That
that's
would be hard for me too.
yeah. And you build up to it. Yeah.
Yeah, you build up to it for 12 hours. So how many hours do you go at a time?
It does get intense. So what happened, or if you can still see me? Well, in the morning, typically an hour, and then you take a break, an hour at a time, and then you can take a break for a few minutes, and then you come back.
Well, our Santa was, I missed hers. There you go. I went to the wrong one. And she said, sign me up.
Yeah, it's it's dhamma.org. I can tell you how to spell that if you want. And that's basically their main website. And there's centers all over the world and all over the country. I mean, this has really flourished over the last few decades. And our courses literally fill up within a couple hours of when registration opens.
So you meditate, how many hours? I know I interrupted you with the comments. So how many hours do you meditate then at a time?
It's pretty much 1 hour at a time. Some people can go longer, but it's not about how long you sit on the cushion. The whole idea is to remain equanimous, to remain calm and aware, regardless of what you may be experiencing within your body, pain or pleasure or anything else. Yes, and it is indoors. The older students actually get a meditation cell, which is like a closet with.
And she's asking, what's the name of it again? Oh, she froze. Oh no, Aurora's frozen. Hopefully she'll come back in a minute. I'll have her ask that Viviani about
no windows.
And there we lost you for a minute there.
Yeah.
Viviani, she wants to know
the name.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it's DHAMMA.org. Dhamma.org.
Oh, this is an interesting story. Also, Sally.
Oh, I'm from Romania, by the way.
Yeah, and that's a whole story in itself.
I know, right? Yeah.
I think we went through that on the first show that you were on about being, about where give it just a real brief. I mean, you went from Romania to, where was it? France? Was it France?
Yeah, I moved from Bucharest, which is the capital of Romania, to Paris, France. And then I moved from there to New Jersey, into a small town in New Jersey. So it was culture shock every time I moved. Yeah, but I've been here since 1984. So
you're in Florida now.
Yes, I'm in Florida now. Yeah. I've lived in a number of different places.
And
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and you can tell them how we met.
Yeah, we were both in a group, the Exoconscious Community coaching group. And I had some pretty spectacular experiences and downloads and new abilities that developed that I had no idea what to do with or how to integrate in my life, for that matter. So I came across a community, the Exoconscious Community is what they call it. And I joined one of their groups, and you were in it too. And, that really helped me to integrate what was going on with me, because it helped me to not feel so alone. I mean, really, some of the stuff that I had experienced, I really couldn't talk to anybody about. I mean, my husband, sure, but, I needed somebody who could help me to integrate what was going on. And you, Dr. Gail, really helped me to relax and open up to so many different things that I never imagined would be possible. And yeah, that really, really helped me out a lot. I mean, as soon as I met you, um, it just sort of launched me into a whole other realm of experiences. I mean, it really helped to open my mind.
Right. It opened you way up. I mean,
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
started pouring in then.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it really did. And, having the support of the group in that community to, deal with all these new things on top of the old things, that was really, really helpful. It's been very exciting since then. My life is like a
Right.
phenomenal roller coaster ride, and I love roller coasters. I do. I'm one of those people who really loves them. So
I do too. I like roller coasters too. But yeah, it was my same experience too. As soon as I started opening up, it's like, oh my gosh, what a world we live in. It's
yeah.
not boring at all.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and now I'm moving towards working with the water creatures, and which I never thought would happen. Which my first experience, which I already talked to people a little bit about it on the show. Um, that's where I'm actually connecting with the seventh dimensional beings, which they've been kind of training me, and we're trying to get my body to adjust to connecting with them. And I didn't realize it was going to lead me to working with water creatures. With the first one, and I've worked a lot in the water with the Atlantis and different beings down there, but not like this, where I saw a merman who was being controlled by another being that was a blob in a cave, and he was being controlled. I felt like it was like a mafia feel, and that he had to go do these jobs for this guy, or something would happen to him or his family or whatever. There was consequences if he didn't do. Well, the next thing I saw was him climbing out of the water and on the sand. I felt like it was in the area of Australia, somewhere around there, and turned into, of course, a human, a good-looking man, put on a suit, and then went and killed somebody and went back to the water. He was a hitman.
Oh my goodness.
And so that opened up what was going on in the water, that we have a lot. And it used to be that I rescued aliens and ETs.
Yeah.
Well, this is now, and we know about that, but we don't know anything about what's going on in the water, which I haven't discussed. The next step I have done is I have gone during meditation. I looked down at myself and I turned into scales. They were like blue and green scales. I was turning into a
interesting
being, and I went into the water, the ocean, and all of a sudden I was a shark type.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I went over to the merman and the being that was in the blob that was in there that was controlling him. And there were some more little beings that he was controlling up on above, like little fish. And I took my sonar, which I didn't know I had this ability, and went and broke all those ties with all of them. Took every one of those things that were coming out of this being blob in the hole and bent them where he couldn't have control over anybody anymore. Bent
wow.
Things. And and so that's my newest thing that I'm going to be doing, which I have never in any kind of lifetime would dream. First off, that was going on in the water, and secondly, that the gift of turning into a fish. I mean, I've gone over and I've turned, put a whale body on and gone swimming with whales, but this was different. This was I was on a mission. I was going to go take care of this thing. I was going to get that merman away from him and these other people that were connected to him. He had probably about 30 places coming out of him that he was controlling.
Wow.
And so that's my newest adventure.
That sounds amazing.
It was definitely different. And this probably happened, it might have been a week or 10 days ago. And I really have had time to absorb exactly what has happened and what happened to me and what went on in my next thing that I'm going to be doing. So that was pretty new to me. So I'm just finally being able to tell everybody about it, because I didn't know that this was going on in the water.
That sounds amazing. That really does. Wow. Very, very cool.
So let me see what these comments. White dragon. What is this? The crab creature in the cave has been dealt with already. Well, I took care of his control. That's what I did. I bent everything. I think you told me about. I think this happened before you went and took care of him, because I went in, and as I said, it's been a while. I just haven't been able to talk about it because I had to sit there and figure out what in the world was this all about. This is something new to me. So anyway, so there's my next thing, and so we don't know what's going in the water, but it looks like I'm getting ready to find out. So,
wow.
All right, let me see. I see Debbie's asking me if I've connected with.
I was just looking at that question. Well,
any octopus. I've always been connected with the energy of the octopus, and I have. Have you got a drawing of one?
Yeah, I'm looking for something that I drew that is not exactly an octopus, but it is a being along the same lines. I'm looking for over here. Here we go. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see her. You take off this sticky note.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She was very, very interesting. She was like a cross between, or a combination between, an octopus and a horseshoe crab.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. She was really something, like an aquatic being, but not living in water. There was some other fluid that she was in. And
well, you know, I've met this kind of like frog, human, whatever, and they go in between the water and land also, and they only go on certain islands. Is what they did. They didn't come out to where we would see them. They went to isolated islands when they came out, which I thought was pretty amazing.
Interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah, when I posted her on Facebook, you know, she was at that time the most unusual thing that I had drawn, most unusual being. And so I was like, should I post this? Should I not post this? Because I don't want to invite negative comments. I don't need that in my life. But I was blown away by
a negative comment on her. I mean, she was actually pretty.
Yeah, I was just surprised at. She got more comments at that time. She got more comments than any other being that I had posted. And people were really going on and on about what, you know, some of them knew those types of beings. But in any case, yeah, it really, really surprised me. She was really quite something.
Yeah.
Well beyond my frame of reference at the time.
Have you connected with her, like getting more information on her personal level?
No, I haven't. Although I know that I can.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like there's a story there. I feel like there's a story there that you need to connect with.
Yeah, I get the same sense. This is one of the beings that I drew before I started drawing portraits for other people. So she was, she connected with me, and I know there's more to her, and it feels like it's unfinished.
Right.
The connection is not finished. So but yeah, I haven't really had time to go into that, but I should, because, you know, it's important.
Right. She's got an important message, and I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, I know she does. Yeah. Well, considering there's so many changes happening right now and I'm going in new directions, I probably should get with her and find out what she has to say.
Yeah. In fact, you know, I'm kind of feeling like she might be a guide for you.
Oh.
So I think there's a stronger connection to her than you think.
Yeah, I knew that when I drew her. But after that, I just sort of, like I said, my attention moved elsewhere.
She is a god. She is a god. That's why, yeah, she is a god. In fact, she's a very important god for you. So you really need to connect with her, because I'm getting a humongous yes on this.
Really? Okay. Oh, I will. Definitely.
So, yeah.
Definitely. I will. Yes. My next meditation, she'll be the one I'm talking to.
And I'm going to be anxious to hear, because I feel her power. Like, she's very powerful. So
Yeah, she is. She is. She's really pretty intense in that way. Yeah, you're describing what I got from what I put actually in my post about her.
oh, okay. And
Yeah.
Kathleen's saying thank you for sharing your photos.
Sure.
So let's see if we've got some questions here. You ready for some questions? I've started a few, and then I started talking to you. Let's see. Let's see. This is Debbie. Any advice on how to open the connection to the Palladians if I'm supposed to learn or if I'm supposed to learn channeling? Well, we were talking about the connection. Or do you want to go into a little bit about that connecting?
Well, if you let me just say this first. If you are asking that question, the answer is yes. Otherwise, you would not be able to even think about this concept. Okay. So what I'm getting is that there's some Pleiadians who are wanting to channel through you, actually. How to go about that, which this is, you probably already know they're wanting to channel through you because that's why you're asking if you need to learn channeling. Well, Gail was explaining earlier about how, the first thing that you can do is just to connect with your guides first, or somebody that you trust on the other side, because that'll help you to relax and open up to receiving communication in that form, from a source that's not within our realm. That's a really good place to start. And if you connect with somebody who can guide, whom you trust, they can either guide you themselves, or they can put you in touch with another being who can guide you, or perhaps, in direct contact with these Pleiadians that are wanting to channel through you, really. Did you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I was going to say, Debbie, yeah, I'm getting that you're to learn channeling. However, you need to, and how I learned how to start actual channeling was through Lee Harris. I went, and because they were telling me they wanted channeling the seventh dimensional beings, the Z group was wanting me to start channeling, and also Bazaar, who I channel. He was one that first started me wanting to channel, and I was to sit down for 15 minutes and start writing down what he was telling me, and I was to come in with questions. But I do go out of my heart space when I go to channel. I sit down and create a picnic table where I sit down with him, and I take my lion, my my white rabbit, and my crow, and my dad. All four of them go with me to sit down. The lion is there to protect me. The crow sees ahead what's going on. The white rabbit's for me to keep it light and fun. And my dad is the one that I count on all the time to make sure it's okay. So I go with an army of people to sit down at this picnic table to talk to Bazaar, and I'll ask him questions, and then go from there. But I listened to a show on Lee Harris. In fact, that's the first time I saw Lee Harris. I didn't really know anything about him until Bazaar was saying he wanted me to start channeling information for him. And then all of a sudden, what came up on YouTube was Lee Harris, Learn How to Channel. And so I just watched one show or two shows of his, and I was ready to go. But I don't think people go out of their heart space. I think that's just my thing. I go out of my heart space and bring my whole tribe with me. But that is also when I go to the lower world, I take those people with me also. So that is how I channel. You have anything else to?
Oh, no, I love that. I love it. Your little army. I think that's really, really great. And actually setting up a specific space for that type of thing. I think that's a really, really good idea. The thing that I was going to add is that more and more I'm coming across people who want the channel.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's something in the air, there's communication that's coming from the other side that really wants to manifest itself in this realm. So more and more people are called to channel. And, it used to be very rare and considered really weird, not that long ago.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
now it's like,
Well, also you have to decide what kind of channeling you want to do, because I've never wanted them to jump on my body, and I've said that from day one.
yeah,
I didn't want to be that kind of channeler. So when Bazaar came around, we made an agreement that he would sit in my lap and whisper in my ear, but he wouldn't jump in my body. So we had to make that agreement, on that. And so you have to decide what kind of channeling you want to do. It's okay if you want them to come in your body. I'm not saying that's something wrong with that. But that was just not what I'm comfortable with. They can give me all the information and I can speak it. They don't have to get in my body and speak for me. So you find your comfort zone on that, on which one you want to, how you want to do it.
Yeah, and definitely having questions ahead of time that you want to ask, that really helps. Yeah.
There's Sally has that question.
Do you have any questions for setting aside disbelief?
Have any suggestions?
Any suggestions? Sorry. Yeah. Well, the root of disbelief is actually in our conditioning, because we've been taught to dismiss our intuitive sense as nonsense. It's just part of our conditioning. And, it's like, for me, for example, I will connect with a being, but I will never know 100% that I've actually connected with that being. So if I don't feel entirely confident about what I'm doing, I actually make the choice to go ahead and go with it anyway and see what happens. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen if you decide to believe? I mean, honestly, what is the worst thing that could possibly happen? And so I go with it. And, when I'm done, the feedback, that I get is very validating, even though, I don't believe in it 100%. Also, imagination. We've been conditioned to dismiss anything in our imagination. And that is just, such a disservice, because it's through our imagination. That's a conduit through which we make a lot of these connections. And imagination is very valuable. It's just as valid as anything else, that we experience. So, those would be my suggestions, to just kind of just go with it. Really, just go with it.
Well, Sally, I have a question for you. Is this disbelief from you, or is this disbelief from outside of you?
Good question.
But family, because it's different on handling that part of it. So, Sally, if you're here, let me know if it's disbelief from outside of you, or if it's disbelief from you. If it's inside of you on disbelief, there's some tools that you can use. Like if I'm questioning something, I can use a pendulum and question yes or no. If I'm questioning that within myself, or I'll ask, what's a big thing for me is if I'm driving, it's internal. Okay. She's saying it's internal.
So, it usually is.
Yeah. So, and also because I get so much information when I'm driving. I mean, I'm just open when I'm driving. I know Danny Shea always panics every time I talk about that. He says, I don't want to be on the road. I said, it's not like that. I can still drive. But I'll say, if it's validating, I'll go, make sure the stoplight is green when to come through, or the next stoplight is green. And so I'll get some validations like that. But also, as I said, I'll use a pendulum to get a lot of answers for that.
That's a good idea. I'm going to start using that. Like we were talking earlier, I'm going to dig mine out, and I forgot all about it. That's a great strategy. Yeah. That's
you don't tell people. Well, I don't tell everybody, and it's only since I've been to Mount Shasta and come back that I'm so much more open than I was before, more confident in my own self on what's going on. We can't fault you for not wanting to tell people. You just have to figure out who you can tell. Like here, you can be here.
Yeah.
So she likes the idea of the pendulum, she says.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea.
Yeah. All right.
That's a really good strategy.
Let's see what we have here. Here's White Dragon. What was the general effect of this gate of the lion thing? The downloads were intense and are still going on. I asked and was told to drink lots of water as it would help. And also I got White Dragon sleep too. That it is intense, but I'm hearing, I've been saying all year that something big's happening in September and something big happening in December. So I think this is preparing us for that. You have anything else to add, Aurora?
It just feels like this summer, there have been a lot of downloads. This summer feels like it's been packed with download after download after download. And at least for me personally, I haven't unpacked all of them. In fact, it feels like I've received downloads that I'm going to need later. And they're just sort of stored for the time being. And I'm going to know what I need to know when I need to know it. But yeah, the energies have been really, really intense. And I don't know how many of you actually keep track of the solar flares. I have an app on my phone. And it's been—
that might be a little scary to have an app on your phone of the solar flares. My gosh.
Well, I find it very validating because I'm sensitive to changes in the environment. So if I have a day when I'm feeling especially, wobbly, I guess, and I see that there's a solar flare coming on, that's very validating. But what I found is how to work with them in a productive way, because they do affect our magnetic field. They distort our magnetic field. So what happens is things become looser in a way. So, it's kind of a chaotic feeling. But when there's chaos, that's a great opportunity to start creating something new. So I do like to meditate during solar flares, and it literally feels that things that are no longer serving me just disappear. They just dissolve and melt away. I mean, in a more obvious way than when there aren't solar flares.
A while back when they're getting me ready for the connecting to seventh dimensional, the Z group brought me up and I was almost like I was in a lettuce spinner where all pieces of me was spinning off of me.
Yep.
Yep. They were making me pretty raw at that time.
Yeah.
So let me see here. I had find this comment. Here's Sal again. That's it. Who to trust, and that is you kind of tiptoe on that. And usually, for some reason, I don't tell everybody. Do you? You don't either, do you, Aurora? Or you're kind of
what?
What was that?
What was the question? Can you repeat that?
She's talking about trusting people on what she does, telling them what they do.
Okay.
Who to trust? Yeah, that's kind of like a landmine in itself.
Or are we talking about who to trust on the other side to connect with?
Oh, well,
I'm not sure. Which one is it? People or other beings?
What do you mean by that?
Well, yeah. So I'm thinking, when you reach out to other beings, the way that I decide who to trust is if I get a sense of compassionate love and sympathetic joy from that being, that's a being I'm going to trust. But anyone who makes me feel—
She's talking about on this side. She's talking about—
she's talking about this side. Okay.
Yeah. And that's
a tougher one.
That is a tougher one. And, I'm in South Carolina. So, when I first started all this happening, I hid everything. I didn't tell anybody. The only people that knew were Meg, who was helping me through everything. And then, of course, Mary. Mary's been with me from the very beginning. And so I had those people to talk to. And you just have to tiptoe, like my family. Oh, my gosh, I'm sure they sit there and talk about their crazy, like crazy Aunt Gail, so she thinks she's connecting with the people of the past. And especially even when I was telling my family, my dad would come and I'd give them all this information, which they knew was right, but still they're, not involved in it. But I think you just tiptoe and just like put your fish hook out and go, like one of my friends, Talia, which I would have never thought she would have been into it. I remember talking about, when I walked to the house, I feel like there's somebody who's passed away here. I feel there. And she just lit up. Tell me about it, And so I think you just kind of have to just tiptoe. You don't just spill your guts on everything all of a sudden. But there's been a few people that I have since I've been back in South Carolina. There's been a few people that I just went, this is who I am. This is me. And I was ready to accept the consequences of, having crosses all over my doorways or whatever. But that is a hard one. So who are you doing? Are you telling anybody? You're going to, your retreat, which you can tell people there. And
no, I don't. I don't actually tell those people anything. Well, I guess at the end of the course, we could all sit down and have a conversation. But what I do sometimes is I will talk about my experiences in the third person. As in, I have this friend who is connecting with these beings and drawing and all of that, and I will gauge the response of the other person, how they react, obviously. And, sometimes that works. However, I am just like you, Gail, at this point. I don't really care what people are going to think. It's like, this is who I am. The people at the meditation retreat, the reason why I don't speak with them is because in that environment, it's just not the kind of conversation that you can lead into. I mean, if the topic comes up, I will definitely, talk about who I am, and I'm fine with that. But to be honest, it's never come up at that meditation center. So, I don't start conversations on that topics, not yet anyway.
Actually, that's a good thing to say, because most people, that subject does not come up unless somebody might be interested in it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, Sal, I know that we were just going all over the place to help you on that one. We don't have a really great answer yet, but I think maybe, keeping your group, being with these people here, and finding groups that maybe you'll bring up your confidence that you'll be able to say, well, if I meet somebody, all I'll say is, I'm a medium or a psychic medium. And that's basically how I'll end it, and see if that'll hook them in sometimes. I don't go into all that I do and all that I'm connected to. I think that might be a little overload on somebody who you're just meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, sometimes I'll tell people that I'm an intuitive artist, and
that's good. That's good.
They want to know more about it, or they don't.
Well, they wouldn't even know what that was, probably. Oh, okay. They would hear artist.
Yeah, they'll hear artists, and that may be good enough for them, and they'll move on. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next question. Let's see. Fine Phoenix. What is my direct path to deeper consciousness and understanding in spiritual development? Thank you. Well, this could be you, Aurora, for all this.
Let's just say there is no direct path.
Mine was a funnel coming in through my crown chakra.
Right.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, there is no direct path. There's always a scenic route. And we learn all along the scenic route. And it's not that we are not making progress when we take the scenic route. We're actually collecting more knowledge and information that helps us later on. So, that's kind of, from my personal experience, what I would have to say about that. But Gail, I'm sure you're getting all kinds of hits from all kinds of things.
Yeah, and also everybody talks to you about your guys and going, oh my gosh, I talking about people lining up for your art.
Yeah, right.
It's like a line up with the guys, but Sally's going, I tend to give too many details, overshare. So, well then, Sally, you're probably actually more healthier than we are, because you then right away know who you can talk to and who you can't. But there you go, Finding Phoenix. I'm not sure if that helped, but a direct path to deeper consciousness. For me, it was meditation, and Aurora's so much. Mine and meditations are nothing compared to what she does. But I mean,
it's just different.
Yeah, how many hours a day do you meditate?
Me?
Yeah.
2 to 3, usually. Yeah, 2 to 3.
And you're saying that's different. For me, that's what opened me up to everything going on. That's when I started meditating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a different form of meditation. That's all. And like I said, different things work for different people. Just, what I do works for me, but um, everybody is, whatever works for them best. There's no best or worst way to do these things. It's whatever works for that person. It's good to explore until you find the right thing,
All right. All right. Thanks, Lori. She's talking to White Dragon. Once I started learning from Dr. Gail, we were all so relieved to finally know what the heck was going on.
I love it. Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep. That works.
All right, let's see what we have here. What's the next question? Ooh, I don't know what happened up there on the top of my computer. Galactic Fire t-shirts and tattoos. This is for you, or do you have to get into the loving vibration before you connect or start drawing? Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, I do. There's a fundamental law of existence that you cannot experience, or we cannot experience what we're not the vibration of. So it's almost like tuning into a frequency. And when I tune into the frequency of this, compassionate love and sympathetic joy, I connect with whatever other beings are tuned to that frequency. And this is one of the reasons why I don't even see the negative beings. If I were to try to connect when I was angry or, in a judgmental state of being or something like that, then I'm sure my experience would reflect those negative states of being, but I don't want to experience that. So, yeah, I do. I meditate and I, get myself centered. And this loving vibration that you're referring to is actually our natural state.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about just relaxing into yourself and allowing your true self to really come forward, and your true self resonates with the loving vibration just naturally.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I hope that answered the question.
I think that was a good answer. But I was going to say that everybody is stronger than anything that negative that might show up, and but I have experienced negative beings, and I needed to experience negative beings because I was going to go on rescue missions. And so the very first one I met, and I didn't know what it was. It was a Draco that showed up and was outside a door frame of me. And I told two people that were beside me, I said, "Don't open the door. Don't open the door." Mm-hmm. And I went to the door and I was kind of like holding it. And all of a sudden he took the whole door frame and started pushing me back.
Oh, wow.
And this was the part I just didn't really understand. I looked over to the two people and I went, I guess I got to deal with this. This is calm as I could be. That was a part that bothered me more than anything, is why I was so calm about this thing that had done that. And but anyway, the next day then it went away. And I knew it was coming back the next day, and I had worried about it, and I had talked to all these people and to how to handle this, and I was given ways to how to handle it. And so I thought, well, I'm going to call my guides to help. So the next day it did come back, and I had actually had my angel Gloria, my guide Metkai, and then Jesus showed up, and they took it and turned it into a rose and took it off. And
wow.
So that was my first time that I dealt with a negative entity or something negative like that. And of course, my journey continued on, because when I was doing rescue missions, I was going to meet these negative things. And when I did help people, I was getting rid of negative entities and things from them. So I did have to deal with some of that. But I always know that we are stronger than they are. And going into that, knowing that you got all this backup to help you, your guides and everything, that stronger than anything negative out there.
Yep, that's a very good point.
So, Aurora, I know you got to go. You got to go.
Yes, I got to go get my kids from school.
It's been great having you again.
Oh, it was great being on your show again. Really. Thank you so much for having me back.
Yes, and thanks, everybody. Thanks, our moderators, for keeping us a safe place, and thanks for joining us. I'm getting ready to go on vacation, so I won't be here Saturday. It'll be the following Saturday that I'll be here with Terry. So anyway, all right, y'all enjoy the week and your weekend, and we will see you later. All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Take care.